Our nervous system does not like to go from 100 to 0 abruptly. Our nervous system likes gradual shifts. And even when it's something we think of as a good shift, like shifting from our busiest time to a vacation, it can feel like an abrupt shift to our nervous system, and that abruptness can feel discombobulating, and our nervous system will throw up some resistance. It'll say like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, I don't wanna slow down that quickly all at once. I'm gonna resist. I'm gonna try to stay busy. I'm gonna try to stay in frantic mode." And that's basically what I experienced when we got out to the beach. Welcome to How to Trust Yourself, the podcast for anyone who's done with the endless second guessing and ready to tune in to your inner guidance. I'm Anna Holtzman, and I get that feeling of trudging through life like you're wading through mud, trying to figure out which way to go. In my 20s, I spent more time asking what should I do with my life than writing about crushes or bad dates in my journal. I've tried on a lot of answers: architecture, publishing, editing reality TV for a decade, and finally landing on therapy and coaching, helping people like you connect with your purpose. But here's the thing I've learned through all those twists and turns. Trusting yourself is the key to moving forward, even when the path feels messy. So if you're ready to stop doubting yourself and start listening to your gut, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back, dear listener. So I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit embarrassed to record this episode. And part of me wants to record it and part of me doesn't want to, because I find this a little bit embarrassing because I'm human. And what I find embarrassing is that I am not graceful at slowing down and at transitions. And I'm speaking particularly about my own transition into summer, which typically is a slow period for me in not only in my business, but in my energy. It's a time of year when my business slows down and also my energy slows down. And, it's kind of what you would it's expectable. It's like for what I call the school year part of the year, the fall, winter, and spring part of the year, I tend to be in like this productive mode and I'm really into getting things done and creating things and I feel energized, and sure, my energy goes through waves, but like I love my business. I love what I do. I love working with my clients. I love teaching. I love recording this podcast, all that stuff. And I just kind of like to be very active and engaged with the work that I do, the work that I love. And then by the time summer rolls around, two things happen in tandem. My business slows down and my energy slows down. And, when I say it out loud that way, it makes a lot of sense. And it does make sense. We all need to have a season of slowdown. But the thing that I was saying I feel embarrassed about is that I often resist the slowdown pretty intensely. Not consciously, not intentionally. I know that I need to slow down. I know that it's healthy for me to slow down, but my nervous system is so revved and it's like so in that gear of like going, going, going that it just doesn't want to slow down. And so the transition into what I'm now calling my slow summer, the transition is often awkward, not graceful, not beautiful, not preemptive. And that's been true this year as well. And I say it feels a little embarrassing because I'm like, this is stuff that I coach other people on. I coach my clients on giving themselves grace and making time to slow down and, you know, expecting that you're going to feel tired and slow after a season of busyness and letting that be okay, making space for it. All the healthy things. I coach on that. So there's this one part of me that feels embarrassed that I'm not doing it gracefully like a ballerina. But the truth is that I'm able to coach my clients and my students on these things, not because they come easily to me, but precisely because they're a challenge for me, because I really need to bring a lot of awareness and attention to these things that are challenging for me. I've needed to develop tools. I need to talk about them a lot. I need to think about it a lot because it's challenging for me. And so I can relate to it being challenging for you. I can relate to that in my clients. Um, and so I'm just going to share in the spirit of um, sharing what's hard for me and how I navigate that and how I move through that. I'm going to share a little bit with you today about how I've been navigating my transition to a summer slowdown and how it has been clunky and human in that clunkiness. So, just to set the scene of what this transition has looked like so far. So, I'm recording this on July 23rd, and my husband and I and my stepdaughter live in a neighborhood in Queens, New York called Jackson Heights. If you've ever been there, you know that it's a very bustling neighborhood. I mean, it's not right in the city center, but it's still quite urban. It's densely populated. There's a lot of activity going on there, and, it's a city neighborhood, it's in what I call the sleepier borough of Queens, but it's still a city neighborhood, and, my stepdaughter's mom also lives in that neighborhood, so during the school year, my stepdaughter is going back and forth between our 2 households, and they're walking distance from each other, and it's a great place for us to be. And then in the summer, when my stepdaughter is no longer commuting to school every day and she also goes off to do some summer camp activities, my husband and I decamp for our other home, which we are so, so fortunate to be able to go back and forth between these 2 different environments, 2 very different environments, but they're both in the borough of Queens, New York. It's a little bit of a quirky setup that we have here. So 50-minute drive away from Jackson Heights, is our home by the beach, our beach home, which is also in Queens in a neighborhood called Rockaway Beach, New York. It's the neighborhood where my mother grew up, where my grandfather lived when I was growing up. I have a lot of memories in this neighborhood, and it's just been so special to return here as an adult. And so we come out here for basically the whole summer to be a little bit, although technically we're still in the city on the map, and there is an above ground subway line running right through the neighborhood, but it's also very much a beach town, and we're right on the beach in this little narrow peninsula of land, where the bay is only about, I don't know, I think it's like 4 blocks away, from the beach. And it's a really cool, unique place. So as soon as my stepdaughter leaves for summer camp, which she does right after school ends, it's like 2 days later, and this is at the end of June in New York City. That's when public schools, end their school year. So the last few days of June, She finishes school, she goes off to summer camp, and then my husband and I pile our 3 cats in their 3 separate cat carriers into the back of our car, pack up our stuff, and we take off for Rockaway to spend the summer there, which is something that I look forward to all year because I just love being out by the beach. I love the ocean. I love the ocean air. I love all the just the memories that I have in this neighborhood, the nostalgia that comes with it. I love eating ice cream on the boardwalk. I love going on walks on the boardwalk nearly every morning and watching the waves of the ocean crash. So I look forward to it. And I look forward to like slowing down a little in the summer and really enjoying um being in nature, seeing the sky, being able to see the horizon on the ocean. So we did that. Like I said, I'm recording this July 23rd. We came out here right at the end of June. And it's been a rocky transition, I have to admit, for me, energetically and emotionally. And looking back, this was the case last year, which was the first summer that we came out here in June. It was the same the year before when we came out here a little bit later in the summer. And this has just been the case for me with slowing down transitions. Like, this is just something that I recognize. I remember way back when I used to work in television and I would work on these like 2 to 3 month freelance jobs on TV shows, and then they would end, and I'd have a little break or sometimes a longer break between that and the next job. While I was on a job, I just had so much adrenaline going through me. It was like, go, 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 go. And then the job would end what felt like abruptly. I mean, I knew it was coming, but, it would be like from 100 to 0 all in one day. And as much as I had been looking forward to the job ending so I could take a little break or even a month-long break sometimes, um, it was a rough transition because our nervous system is like, it does not like to go from 100 to 0 abruptly. Our nervous system likes gradual shifts, and even when it's something we think of as a good shift, like shifting from our busiest time to a vacation, it can feel like an abrupt shift to our nervous system, and that abruptness can feel discombobulating, and our nervous system will throw up some resistance. It'll say like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, I don't wanna slow down that quickly all at once. I'm gonna resist. I'm gonna try to stay busy. I'm gonna try to stay in frantic mode." And that's basically what I experienced when we got out to the beach. And as per usual, as was the case nearly every time I finished, a gig in TV back when I did that, and as has been the case at the start of every summer, I forget all over again that this is gonna happen. So I'm not expecting it, and then I'm like, "Why can't I just relax? Why do I feel so frantic even though things are slower right now?" And that like, tension between the innate slowing down, like, I'm tired and my energy is just slowing down and my business is slowing down, and I've even, wanted to slow down in the summer, but my nervous system is still trying to keep up the status quo that it's had going for the last however many months, and so it's resisting the slowdown, and that tension between my nervous system pattern and the slowing down creates this real awkwardness, and it can lead to, for me, feelings of frustration, thoughts of self-criticism, and even some, like, dips into mild feelings of depression, certainly feelings of anxiety, and so I was experiencing that for the last few weeks, like, I would say the first 3 weeks, since getting out here to the beach. Um, Off and on, like ebbing and flowing. And if you recognize yourself in any version of what I'm describing, I hope this helps you know that you're not alone, that this is like a very common thing. It's a very human thing. A lot of times we even put pressure on ourselves to slow down. Like we'll put pressure on ourselves to enjoy vacation time or just like summer slow down time. And then we'll get mad at ourselves that we're not enjoying and not slowing down and not chilling the F out. So if that's something that you can relate to, you're not alone. This is a totally human thing. And I'm gonna share with you how I've been navigating this and how I'm coming out the other side of it now. And primarily, the way that I've been navigating this is, yes, I've been using my tools of self-connection and self-regulation. So for me, those tools are journaling. As you know, if you have been listening to this podcast for a while, I talk a lot about journaling and my own method that I call the melt through method of journaling. This is something I teach in my workshops and classes. So I've been using that tool to connect with myself and to regulate. I have been taking long walks, which is just one of my favorite go-tos for self-regulation. But self-regulation has not nearly been enough, to help me get through this, and so I have really been needing and making use of co-regulation, which means connecting with other people, which can feel hard to do when you're feeling at odds with yourself, or when you're feeling down, or when you're maybe feeling a little embarrassed about, uh, you know, what a hard time you're having slowing down when you have the privilege of having a slow summer at a place by the beach to spend it in. And all of those are things that I was feeling, but I knew that if I self-isolated and didn't share how I was feeling with anyone, that it would just persist and it would spiral and I would get stuck and frozen in this state. And so I really have pushed myself to be open and honest about it. I reached out to several wonderful friends that I'm so grateful I get to connect with. I know that they get it and they receive me with love and non-judgment and warmth, and that's been so helpful. Some of these friends are colleagues, so they really get the aspect of, like, having a hard time slowing my gears when it comes to my business, and I've also been opening up about this and chatting about it with my coach. I actually work with 2 coaches. I work with one coach who is my personal coach. She's a stepmom coach, and that's how we first connected. That's what I first reach out for support with. And now we just talk about all the things, whatever's coming up for me. And then I'm also working with my own business coach. And so sharing with my coaches, with the mastermind group that I'm a part of, with my business peers, sharing with my friends and other coach peers that I connect with. All of that has been so, so helpful. And it has helped me not to switch gears instantaneously, not to flip a light switch and suddenly recognize that, "Oh, yeah, slowing down is healthy. Slowing down is a good thing. Embrace slowing down. And when you make it okay, it'll feel easy." Um, I knew that to be true, and I've been getting that feedback from every person I've been connecting with, and hearing it from other people in different ways from each person has been so helpful. And the truth is, it has just taken time and repetition of that message, repeating that message to myself, hearing it from different people in different voices and with different language, in repetition and over time, till my nervous system was finally ready to say, "Oh, right, slow is good." And this happened for me right around midweek last week, like a week before I'm recording this, when it gradually built to a point where it clicked. And this mantra just came to me, which was slow summer. And I've just been saying that to myself throughout the day whenever I think of it, or especially whenever I catch myself going into a mode of putting pressure on myself or thinking I need to be uh, doing more in my business or accomplishing more around the house, or even like having more of like a vigorously fun summer time at the beach. Uh, pressuring myself to have more fun. Anytime I catch myself going into one of those loops, I say this, slow summer. And I just feel this sigh of relief come over me when I say it and I sink into what it means to me, which is that slow is good and slow is right for this season, for me, for my energy, for my business, for my leisure. This is the time for slow. Slow is appropriate. Slow is necessary. Slow is good and slow feels good. And even as I'm saying it now and sharing it with you, I feel that good feeling in my body. That shift from viewing slow as wrong or a little bit of a problem to, yes, I want slow. I embrace slow. And with each passing day that I've been repeating this mantra to myself, it gets easier and more automatic to embrace. And those pulls or those urges of my nervous system to ramp back up have gotten gentler and gentler. And so as I've been going through this process, one of the layers of it is that I've also found myself going into some like perfectionistic loops about how I take care of my own well-being. Some thoughts about like, "Oh, well, next summer, I better get really good at this so that I can have a graceful transition into summer, so that I can model being good at transitions, being good at slowing down." And then I caught what was going on there too. Like, "Oh, so you need to be good at this to be worthy? Is that what's going on here? Can we can I accept myself in all of the awkwardness and fumbling of this transition?" And sure, as I get in my reps, as I practice this slowing down yet another time, yet another summer, inevitably, it will get a little bit easier the next summer and the next summer after that. And, talking about it like I'm doing right here on this podcast helps to reinforce the learning for me. Coaching my clients on this helps to reinforce the learning for me too. Um, and at the same time, part of the learning is bringing acceptance and grace to the awkwardness of it, to the humanness of feeling ungraceful at transitions, and the humanness of needing time and repetition to shift into a different pattern and a different pace. And I I offer that to you too. Not only to offer yourself the grace of slowing down, but also the self-acceptance around how awkward or difficult it might feel to slow down, because the more layers of ourselves that we can bring acceptance to, the more we're able to soften and the easier things can feel, even if they're not smooth or pretty or tied up in a neat bow. And so here's my invitation to you, if you would like to take it. My invitation of something to try out and practice. And I'm just going to guide you for a moment. If you're driving, please pause this until you're somewhere where you can drop in and maybe even close your eyes safely. So I'm just going to invite you to take a breath. Simply notice that the breath is moving in and out of your body all on its own. Let your eyes drift closed if you'd like to. Take a moment to notice the support of the surface beneath you, the temperature of the air that's making contact with your skin. And as you notice another breath enter and leave your body, just gently, with gentle curiosity, ask yourself, where am I putting pressure on myself? Am I putting pressure on myself to push or rush things when my body and my life actually want me to slow down for a bit? Am I putting pressure on myself to have fun and enjoy the summertime? Am I putting pressure on myself to be more graceful at transition, to be better at slowing down? Am I putting pressure on myself to speed up? Where is it that I'm noticing the pressure? Am I putting pressure on myself to have a regulated nervous system? Wherever you notice that pressure, just say to yourself, "Oh, I see. I see that I'm putting pressure on myself, and that is so human, and that is so understandable, and that's so normal, and that's an experience that I share with so many other people, probably most people, maybe all other people. It's normal, and it's okay, and I'm gonna be gentle with myself for putting pressure on myself." And as you say these words to yourself and as you receive these words from yourself, just notice where you feel any kind of softening. Maybe it's really subtle. Maybe it's a slight slowing down of your breath. Maybe it's an incremental drop of tension in your shoulders. And breathe into that softening. And you can keep practicing this in a light, open, curious way as you melt through various layers of this self pressuring that comes up for all of us. It's just a normal part of being human. I hope you found something in this episode that was helpful to you, that was nurturing to you, that felt validating and humanizing to you. And if you find this pattern of self-pressuring is, really a challenge and maybe something that is getting in the way of inhabiting your art practice in a way that feels energizing and sustainable instead of draining, in a way that's inhibiting you from operating in your business in a way that feels aligned and energizing rather than overwhelming and tiring. If you find that self pressuring is getting in the way of you really stepping into the work, the offer, the art project, the book that is in your heart that that just feels like you, that is keeps circling back to you in your dreams, but you are hesitant to step into it because of this self-pressuring pattern. That is the stuff that I love to help and support with. And I would love to chat with you about how we can help you hold a safe space for yourself with my support so that the layers of that self pressuring onion can soften and you can step forward with confidence into the work you're meant to do. So if that speaks to you, I'd love to hear from you. I am in my slow summer mode, but my wait list for one-on-one private coaching in the fall is open, and I'd love to hear from you anytime. You can email me at anna@annaholtzman.com. You can find me at my website, annaholtzman.com, or you can shoot me a message on Instagram where I'm at Anna_Holtzman. Sending lots of love to you in whatever season you are in right now. And I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do me a favor. Hit that follow button so you don't miss a thing and leave a rating or review. It helps more people find this show, and honestly, it makes my day. And if you're looking for more ways to trust yourself and start listening to that gut instinct of yours, come hang out with me on Instagram at Anna_Holtzman. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks so much for listening, and until next time, trust yourself. You've got this.